All right, everybody, welcome back to another battle report, and here it begins. Dwarven Holds versus Kingdom of Equitaine, 6,000 points for Brawler Bash 2017 Game 1. And my opponent here is Joel Flint, and holy crap, does he have one hell of a list. Um, this is the all-peasant Kingdom of Equitaine army, and I am so glad I'm facing this game one, because I'm still in a mood where I can enjoy this. That was not true, as I understand it, of all of Joel's opponents. In fact, I believe it was game 3 or 4. One of his opponents rage quit on him right in the middle of the game. So hopefully I gave him a more enjoyable game than that. So we'll go ahead and get into it. Just for anyone curious, I am starting off on table 15 here. So please keep that in mind as you watch the rest of the battle reports. So we're looking at his army now. My only real complaint about playing Joel is that I was very confused through the vast majority of this game. It's kind of hard to keep straight. Like, for instance, because he didn't want to re-rack his guys here on the left, the billion peasants, he just kind of turned them to the right, and we were like, yeah, they're facing forward. Which is okay. It just made me very confused at various points. But he's got a big old brick of peasants there. That giant in them is not his reliquary. He's got two. One is an actual reliquary, and the other one is a troll somewhere. And again, that kind of led to the confusion on it. Behind him, he's got the super killy lord on a Pegasus. He has a trebuchet that's flinging a cow. In front of that unit with the reliquary, he's got a paladin with virtue of humility and one of two wizards. And one of his paladins also has the wizard's hat. So he's got a lot of magic, which right off the bat worries me because, like I said, I thought wizards sucked and no one was bringing them because I'm dumb and read the 9th Age forums. But the only plus side is this big thing in front of his line right here is impassable. So I'm hoping that might help me. There's the unit of bowmen next to that. There's another trebuchet right behind that unit of bowmen you can't see because of the impassable. Then there's another big old bus of peasants, and that's, again, a unit filler in it and not the reliquary. Then over here he has his general on the Pegasus. Behind them is a unit of bowmen, and that troll that's in the unit of bowmen is his other reliquary. Then he has another unit of bowmen next to that, and a unit of peasants with just a unit filler in with it. So like I said, beyond just kind of being a little confusing, something that hurt was that Joel had apparently forgotten 20 peasants somewhere along the line. So he was having to use dice to represent models in the big models, which was a little confusing. And just his choice for unit fillers really kind of threw me off. And maybe this is just a me thing because I like the immersiveness. His army looked really disjointed. I think he borrowed half the peasants, so the colors were all crazy all over the place, and the unit fillers just didn't make any sense. But I decided to focus myself and not let my confusion interrupt my enjoyment of the game, so that'll be kind of the last bit I will talk about it here in the battle report. On my side, I start with the Vanguarding Great Weapons, the Vanguarding Deep Watch with all the characters in it, and the Vanguarding Slayers up front. I've got my Chopper and Vengeance Seeker and the Greybeards with Sword and Board hanging out in the back. On this side, I got the Pain Train, the other Vengeance Seeker, my Ballista, which is very cunningly pointed right at the face of his general, because I'm smooth like that, and my poor 10-man crossbowmen who are way out of their depth in trying to thin down some of these massive, stupidly large blocks. So we go Dwarven Holds turn 1, and I figured this tactic worked for OB. Why wouldn't it work on this other Kingdom of Equitaine army? So I run straight down his face. We'll see how well that works out. Pretty much everything goes forward. Pain Train up on the hill. Seeing where it'll take me. Over here, the only things that I don't move are my shooters because I want to shoot with them. And boom goes the dynamite. First shot of the game. First roll, Ballista shoots his general in the face and kills him. Which coincidentally won Joel one of the door prizes because whoever got their general killed first got a glass and a model and a free beer. So this was literally like a minute and 45 seconds into the match. So I don't think anybody can beat that speed. And then I do a little bit more shooting. Nothing of any great consequence. I think the Pain Train and the Chopper might shoot at something, but there's literally no way that what little shooting I have is going to matter at all to these peasants. So we go to KOE turn 1, and you might notice that there's models laying all over the place. He just started like moving the reliquaries around, and it was very confusing, but I'm not going to belabor the point. Either way, he pushes up real hard, which I can't help but think, just looking at this picture now, that peasant group that pushed up on the left just looks like a big barge. Like, it doesn't even look like a mass of men. But yeah, it's coming for me. And there's just so many bodies, I don't know, I don't have any answer to it. I don't know what to do about what's coming at me. And then over here, oh boy, he decides to take that big unit of archers, or of peasants that I was going with the reliquary, and he turns them sideways, so that I'm going to get next to no attacks on him, just to tie up my guys. This hurt a little bit. Maybe because it doesn't seem like kind of the spirit of Brawlers. He just kind of turned sideways and just tied up stuff for the sake of tying stuff up. And it kind of annoyed me, and I didn't really have an answer for it, but my Slayers know really nothing else other than charging forward, so I had to do that, and unfortunately all of his other units are taking up so much room here. Normally the Seekers, with the way they're skirmished, they could like sneak through things and get around back there, but I don't have an inch of space to get through anything. So I've got no real choice but to charge into these guys and take forever, killing them one or two at a time. His other unit moves over to the side a little bit, kind of rearranges itself, but nothing else really going on. Oh, he also parked, and I'm not entirely sure why he did this, but he parked his Monster Cav guy into his Pegasus into the unit. I guess maybe just to give him a little more punching power when I get up on him. I'm not sure. And then he does some magic and ends up killing 5 Slayers with magic. And actually, it occurs to me now, I think they had magic. I think the character in there has magic resistance. I should have had 5 ups to save against that. Yep, I should have. And I forgot that the entire tournament, so that's pretty awesome. But yeah, so they're going down, and I don't think there's anything I can really do about it. My only thought is maybe I could charge the character out and go get his wizard back there, but it's kind of a long charge. And if I leave him out of that unit, there's no way those Slayers by themselves are going to chew those guys up with what little frontage I've got. And then the news just keeps getting better. During Magic Phase, he drops Portent of Doom on my giant unit with characters in it. So now I've got to roll 7 dice each phase to be able to do basically the important stuff out of that phase, which is just crazy. So if I throw 7 dice, and if any of them show up as 6s, I can't charge, or I can't march, or I can't shoot, or I can't. There's something else. I can't cast spells, maybe. Not that that matters to me, but the other 3 are obnoxious. And again, it comes down to the issue of me not bringing enough defenses. And this is the spell that I should have eaten with the scroll I have to eat spells, and I didn't because I was kind of overwhelmed at this point and didn't really think clearly about it. But that was a huge mistake on my part. Over here, some shooting goes on, and one of the Vengeance Seekers dies. Some trebucheting goes on, and 4 of the Deep Watch die. And then we go to my turn, and I just decide, you know what, screw it. I'm here to throw stuff forward and kill stuff. So Seekers are going into Peasants. I fail the spell roll, so my main unit can't go anywhere. I believe I failed the Great Weapon charge here, so they stumble forward a little bit, and things are not looking good. Only real good news I'm thinking is my miners come on. I figure maybe I can have them threaten this bunker unit he's got with his wizards in it. That could be awesome. And then over here on the side, I push my shield dwarves up to see if they can stand up to this billion peasants that looks like a barge here. Not entirely sure if they will or not. So we go into combat. I kill 2 peasants. They're stubborn and don't go anywhere. Then it's KOE's turn. He charges the pain train from across the river of fire and slams right into it. His super killy lord charges out of the unit and gets my Vengeance Seeker with the setup overrun to get the chopper because I'm dumb and I left them lined up that way. And then he reforms to shoot at the miners. But I realized that he didn't pay for musicians in any of his archer units. So he can look at them all he wants, but he can't do anything with them. So I'm okay with that. He also did move his wizards out of the first archer unit before they reformed. So that's what is going on there. And I think he just moved up a little bit here. With the other peasant unit. Magic phase goes off, and holy crap, am I getting my butt kicked by magic. He drops the Portent of Doom on my main group again. He drops some divination spell. He buffs the hell out of his pseudo-conga-lined peasants there, just to make sure that the Seekers aren't getting anywhere on him. And then, of course, with the divination spells, he's throwing cold-blooded all over the place. So, holy crap, I've got no answer to any of this. And I guess the big problem is, like, I didn't expect this kind of list at all. It's not really a Brawler's Bash style list. It seems to be a lot about point denial and grinding, as opposed to just going out and punching dudes in the face until they die. So I didn't bring the tools in my toolbox to deal with it. Then he drops another big rock, and lots of stuff dies. And over here, I was expecting way worse than this. He only does 1 wound to the pain train, and I kill a bunch of peasants in return. I win this fight. And over here, he kills the Vengeance Seeker and overruns into the chopper. Dwarven holds turn 3. My brave yet foolhardy crossbowmen charge into the flank of these peasants to help save the life of the pain train. My miners go ahead and charge into the archers. I figure I've got 1 breath weapon with the Thane in that group, and maybe I can thin them down before these other archers come right up my tailpipe. And I come to realize what the solution is to this. I step each of my characters out of the unit where they leave the spell behind, so they'll be able to shoot. And whoosh! Uh, Unfortunately, it's just like 18 peasants, and that's about it. And it's really just a peasant unit. There's not really anything there that matters. So even though it was cool to kill that many of them, the fire breaths I really think do more in combat, and I was not able or patient enough to use it in that fashion, and it didn't really have much impact here. Again, it's just too many bodies. I don't have the answer to that many bodies. Over here we do some more fighting. The fire breath here kills 6 more, but it's really not enough to get the job done. Here, however, the pain train and the crossbowmen kill a brutal amount of peasants, which is enough to break them, and they get run down by the pain train. Over here, his lord kills the chopper and turns around to face the back of my now unprotected characters who had to step out. And KOE turn 3 starts with his general charging, or his killy guy charging the back of my white cloaked Thane. And his big old bus of peasants charging the front of these dwarves here. And the archers charging the back of the miners there. He also tries to charge with this peasant unit into my BSB. I fled with that. He redirected to the Runesmith. I fled with that as well. In part because keeping the Runesmith alive, it gets me an extra 1,000 points in this game because of the scenario card. And secondly, this puts those characters behind his Super Killy Lord, so it'll slow down how fast he can get to me. I'm figuring they're rallying on 9. I should be in good shape. So they just staggered forward because I double fled. Then he starts throwing spells around like crazy. He ends up getting +1 strength off on this big peasant brick. He gets, I think it's reroll to hits off on the conga line peasants. And they now are an official conga line because there's only one line there. But because I'm forgetting that you can attack across the gap, I should be throwing attacks into his reliquary there with my Slayer Lord, and I am not doing it. And I forget to do it for several turns, which is just painful. But yeah, he's kicking my ass when magic is concerned, and there's just nothing I can do about it. He opens up some shots, kills off 3 of the crossbowmen, drops a rock over here on 6 of the great weapons, and brutally murderizes the miners and the Thane that is with them. He kills the white cloak Thane and turns to face the flank of my Deep Watch. And I'm doing some hurting things. They're dying, but not fast enough. And I'm down to only 3 Slayers and the Slayer Lord. Over here, he kills off 4 of the Greybeards. I kill off some of his, but we just kind of stick. And over here, Dwarven Hold turn 4. I decide I've got to get into combat and get some points. So I throw the Deep Watch and the remaining characters into the front of this unit that's been holding my Slayers up for too long, just hoping that I can kill them off at this point. But they're magicked all to hell. They're buffed like crazy. And I'm not sure I've got the bodies left to get the job done. And over here, the Runesmith rallies just in time to look straight in the face of his character, while my BSB fails to rally and continues to take his little flag and run the hell home. So I decide, in hopes that he'll go for the larger point value Pain Train over the Runesmith, I decide to try and sacrifice the Pain Train, and I'm hoping that works. Because if he goes after the Runesmith, he'll just get redirected. So we'll see what he does. Over here, we kill some dudes. They actually, I think they end up running off. Yeah, they must have. Okay, no, I know what happened. I'm sorry. I tried to charge that first peasant unit first, and they ran off. So that's what you see in the top right corner now. So that's why I had to go into those archer guys. And those archer guys get killed down to like 2 guys, and they turn and run. And I make 1, 2, 3, 4 pursuit rolls to chase them down, and fail all 4 of them. So my guys are standing here rushing towards this other battle, and they're just in God's awful position. We do some more fighting here. I'm killing peasants, but I'm losing dwarves at a crazy rate. Even with me charging the crossbowmen into the flank. And up here on the hill, you see those 2 fucking peasants gloating as they're watching half my army try and run them down and fail. So KOE turn 4. He decides not to take either of my baits and go after the Deep Watch unit instead, which points wise is a better call. But the plus side is it does keep my now 1,000-point value runic smith safe for a moment or two. He does rally his peasants that ran. And these guys fail to rally and keep running and fall down the cliff. What are we looking at here? I think he just put his wizards back in the bow unit now that they've murdered my my miners back there. You know, to see the unit behind it looks like garbage. That's, I think, the biggest issue with having so many models on the table. He just really does not care about re-ranking any of them, so he's just kind of piling them together as long as they're roughly the right shape. But I don't care at this point. Over here, he does some magic and blows my BSB to Kingdom Come. Luckily, my runesmith does not panic from that. And then he drops another rock, reducing the Great Weapon Wielders down to 4 models. Finally, things go bad here. He breaks my Greybeards, but cannot pursue them because he failed to kill a single crossbowman who managed to stick and hold up this entire stupid bus of peasants. So, way to go, crossbowman. I think you're MVP for this game so far. And he ends up coming in here. I think he kills a couple of Deep Watch, but no big whoop. They're still stubborn. So Dwarven holds turn 5. My Greybeards fail to rally again on another 9 and keep running. I fail a charge with the 4 dwarves into his trebuchet. I also reformed my Pain Train to look at the back of his general. And I charged all of my characters into the front here. Looks like I think this is after the combat. I lost the combat. And only one of my Thanes broke and ran off. The others are still holding. And then we go and he finishes murdering the Deep Watch to a man and turns around as you see. And then maybe he turned around again. I don't remember. This might actually he might have turned one way and then reconsidered it. That might be what this picture is. So KOE turn 5. Finally, the end has come for the Pain Train as this murderous Bretonnian lord comes barreling down at him. He ends up getting some more magic off. At this point, it doesn't matter. I think he shoots some guys and kills one more of the great weapons. He does some bow shots here and kills 2 more, or does 2 more wounds on the trebuchet. And then we go to combat. The Lord obviously kills the Pain Train and is looking at some other tasty things to kill down here. He manages to kill the rest of my Slayer group and the other characters, so it is only the Slayer Lord that is holding back the Peasant Tide. But yeah, I'm just outbodied. There's no way I'm gonna do that. Just the sixes he needs to hit me are eventually gonna bring me down, just because he's throwing so damn many of them. So Dwarven hold turn 6. I rally my remaining 10 Greybeards. My Runesmith is not panicking. He is just running like a motherfucker. I got to get him away from that Lord so I can keep my 1,000 points. And the other Thane has still not rallied, and he is actually fleeing across the board sideways. I do finally succeed in getting into the Trebuchet, and I think this is after combat. You see I do 2 wounds to it. And KOE turns 6. He decides to take my invitation to come mess up some dwarves. And he charges his remaining, I think there's 8 archers there, into the flank of my Greybeards. And he's kind of doing some moving around. There's not really anything important here. And the combat goes on in the front, and the Slayer Lord is killing and not being killed, which is always a good thing. This guy keeps running, even though he is facing the other way. He did not rally. And we go into combat, and I bust up. I do enough wounds to the Trebuchet to win the combat, and the peasants break and run off. But I didn't kill the Trebuchet, so I couldn't chase them. He ends up killing 3 dwarves here. I do a wound back, and we hold. And then, because we've been having so much fun with this game, we decided to go ahead and play a 7th turn. Oops. Yeah, we weren't paying attention to the turns. And here's dwarf turn 7. I realize he's probably going to kill my dwarves now, so I run off to the side, so there is no possible way he can get me, because I think this is turn 6. So I'll keep those, I'll earn that 1,000 points. We do some fighting here. He does not kill the Slayer Lord, but he does finish off the unit of, or breaks the unit of Greybeards and overruns, killing them. On KOE turn 7, he flees and manages to shoot the ballista to death. And I do finally kill his Trebuchet and overrun into the one that broke, like, turn 2. So, completely illegal game because we went 7, but at the end of it, I gained 3,513 points, which does include the scenario objectives. My opponent beat my ass pretty soundly to the tune of 6,119 points. However, my goal was to score about 3,000 points a game. And I have done that. So we can count it as a moral victory, yes? I'm hoping so, because that's the closest thing I'm going to get to this one. In terms of the MVP here, my Ballista taking out his General turn 1 is really the closest thing I got. I was just caught flat-footed by this. I even saw the list ahead of time and was like, I knew going into this I didn't really have an answer for this many bodies on the field. I'm just sacrificing too much in unit size to get the cool breath weapons, and they were just not going to get the job done. And really, I think there was a general feeling, at least from several folks I talked to, that this just wasn't a good, fun list for this tournament. Obviously, his opponent who quit thought that, and it was something I heard from several others there. I kind of agree. I was trying to stay positive and keep the fun going. And I think I succeeded for the most part. but I'm very, 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 very glad that I played this turn one, or game one, because I think it would have worn on me a lot more in game three or, God forbid, game five. But it was a little bumpy of a start for the tournament. I'm still feeling strong. The Dwarves and their fire are going to keep going, and we will push on to the next game. So in closing, I just want to say thank you guys for watching this. I hope you enjoyed it. And a thank you to my patrons on Patreon, Peter and Sylvanas Ironwood. You guys are awesome. Anyone who would like to help support me via Patreon, I will have the link in the video. I'm certainly looking for help to support my hobby as well as to help me get to other tournaments. I've kind of enjoyed it. I might want to keep doing it for a while. And if you guys like me doing those kind of games, certainly help support me. Or if you like what I do on the regular, support that too. Whichever. I thank you deeply for any and all support. But we'll catch you guys on the next one. I'm hoping to have these up like a day after each other so that it's not too long for you guys to see my whole performance at the tournament. So thank you guys for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.